Yeah, we are
Hello,
live.
guys. Welcome to Sport Intellect's podcast live, and we are here joined by John's Benny at his account will be given in description at CricCrazyJohns, and I'm joined by Abel as well. Welcome to you guys, both of you, and so let's get on with it. So IPL auction review actually. So Jones, what do you make of IPL mega auction dynamics? How different was it compared to the other auctions that we had in the past?
I think if you look at all these squads, every team lack in few areas, especially Indian depth. I don't. When two more teams has been added in this year, there has been some issues with the lack of depth in each side, especially in Indian department. That is one of the reasons why
Yeah,
that has been one of the reasons why most of the players got when a really high price. Like if you look at Rahul Tiwatia or Prasidh Krishna, etc., they were overpriced compared to their performance in last season. And the recency bias also came into the picture as well. But still, I believe if you look at the quality of depth in few teams, especially Indian depth has been really low. Hopefully, we'll be getting more Indian players after 1 or 2 seasons once these experience and the COVID has hit badly as well. We even though in BCC conducted lots of tournaments, but still COVID has hit badly. Maybe some of the talents went away as well. But after this COVID, we might see better talents coming as well. So hopefully, I believe there is a pool of talents who is coming through the ranks. But still, I would say I would have preferred like 5 overseas players in the playing event. That would have helped teams to get into a group or mix of things. And especially overseas talents are there. It's not that because every year there are lots of talents coming through. If you look at Paul Stirling didn't get an IPL contract or Joshua Little, there are lots of others who has done well from these country. And then this Zimbabwe has Blessing Mosamrani from the pace bowler. So there are lots of guys who didn't get more opportunity or contract. So if there was 5 overseas players in the playing field, that would have provided more flexibility as well. That is one thing BCC can look into the next IPL or after 1 or 2 seasons, depending on how the quality of cricket going to be. But we need to wait and watch how that goes because it's really early to tell. Maybe these talents who are part of this setup or teams might perform really well, and we might have a great IPL. So we need to wait and watch how that goes as well.
Yep, even my next question is to you actually. Should there be five overseas players playing in an IPL team just to make it more competitive? Just to add a bit more competition to the IPL actually. Five players in an IPL team, will it work out?
yeah. Actually, it's not a bad idea. What Jones also suggested was that because right now, over the last couple of years, we've not had any sort of domestic tournaments across the country. Now, coming to the point of five overseas players, see if you look at other leagues across the world, we have almost only three or four, three overseas players which plays in almost all the overseas leagues. But there, why is IPL so important for Indian players? Why are we seeing a lot of talents? It's because of the Indian players being able to rub shoulders with the other players, with other foreigners. So I feel five overseas players wouldn't be justice to the Indian talent. Maybe you can balance the overseas squad. You bring in overseas player could probably make the league more competitive. But in order for the Indian ecosystem or Indian cricket ecosystem to go ahead, I feel four overseas players is good enough, and we've seen that in the past as well. More Indian players came to rub shoulders. For example, now Tilak Verma will be batting alongside Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan, Pollard. That's going to definitely help him. For example, for RCB, if you're going to have a Suyash Prabhudesha batting amidst Virat Kohli and Glenn Maxwell, it's going to definitely bolster him. We don't know who he's going to become in the coming few years as well. So I believe four overseas players is the way to go. My question is Jones. Do you think five overseas players, how much of a difference it can bring, and why is the concept of four overseas players being there in the IPL as well?
Um, if you look at it's really as I said earlier, it's really hard to tell whether this Indian talent, like there are lots of talents teams has brought in. There are lots of depth as well. How they are going to perform, how they are going to adapt into the pressure of IPL. We have seen lots of under 19 players or these 23 or 24 players. year-old players coming into the IPL. They might don't have the 1 or 2 seasons great IPL. They need that time to develop as well. We have seen even Virat Kohli had that some silent seasons. Then he overcome that situation. Then he had a great from 2011. He performed really well. So there will be that gap between domestic cricket to the IPL. If you have played international cricket, then there is it's another ball game. But coming right away from domestic cricket to IPL, it's really hard. When you go and face these hard length bowlers from overseas or who bowls at 140, 145 clicks, etc., it's really hard and adapting to the pressure situation as well. Like if you look at most of the openers are from overseas. If you look at any team or players who are mostly part of the international system, so these youngsters need to play at 3 or 4 or 5, and that is where challenge comes as well. That is where teams or players need to perform really well, because that's really hard to perform as well in T20 format, 4, 5, 6, etc. If you look at Riyan Parag might be batting in the middle order, or CSK might have Shivan Dubey, or RCB might have Anju Rawat or Mahipal Lomaro. So many teams are trusting these youngsters to do well. So we need to wait and watch how that goes on, how they are going to adapt into these tough situations. And you need to look at there is not much cricket happening as well, because even though there is Saeed Mushtaq or Vijay Asare, but if you look at before COVID era, there was Karnataka Premier League was there, Mumbai Premier League was there, Saurashtra Premier League was there. Apart from TNPL, no league is happening right now in India. So that has hit badly these lots of players who was coming through the ranks as well. So we need to wait and watch how they are going to adapt into these situations.
Right. Jones, let's take a question from Sriram. He says, which team looks the most balanced according to you? What do you think about that? Because we saw a lot of teams being balanced on the paper, but when it comes to making 11, it's totally a different thing, isn't it? Because you'll see a lot of overseas players, you'll get excited about it, but when it comes to making a team balance and a proper 11, you'll feel, oh my God, they don't have a proper balance. So, what team looks the most balanced according to you?
Uh, I think it's really tough to tell which teams look balanced. Every team has their own issues, but the team who did so well in the auction was Punjab Kings. They recruited some great talents like Johnny Bairstow, Rabada, then Liam Livingston, Shikhar Dhawan. Then there are mix of youth and experienced guys as well. So Punjab Kings stand out in the auction. There are few issues for other teams as well. If you look at Delhi Capitals, last year Delhi Capitals had a bowling group of Nokia, Rabada, Avesh Khan. But right now, if you look at their fast bowling, it lack experience. Apart from Nokia, who has injury issues, we don't know how he is going to play all the 14 games, because recently he has been injured, etc. So that will be another concern for Delhi Capitals. So if you look at any other team, Mumbai Indians don't have the services of Jofra Archer this season. Then they have inexperience as well, and they need to cover up the absence of Hardik Pandya as well. Even though Hardik Pandya didn't bowl in last few seasons, but a batsman from Team India at number 6 means it's gold dust. And right now they need to invest someone like Sanjay Yadav or Tim David or Fabian Allen or Daniel Sams, etc. So we need to wait and watch how that goes on. So every team has made few changes due to some issues, or due to the money issues, etc. So it's really tough to tell which team look better on paper, but the team stand out in the auction was Punjab.
Yeah. Let's take that question from Ravi Raj, because it's on the similar lines as what we were talking about, having a mandatory rule as to we have that now in ISL, where you have only these many players and you should have at least, and we also have that in Bangladesh Premier League, where you have that uncapped players, where you should have at least these many uncapped players. What do you make of that coming into IPL? Would that make the IPL league little less competitive? Because I feel personally, IPL is one of the most competitive league, and the reason why it is so competitive is that professionalism. You have that corporate power into it, and there is no. We are not looking to invest in youngsters. And there is investing in youngsters, but at the same time, the whole concept is about who can win. You're looking at a championship building squad. Ultimately, there are high stakes when it comes to IPL and compared to any other league. And that's why you have a domestic system and you have different Premier Leagues, right? So my question is on similar lanes. Don't you think having two uncapped players per team would actually reduce competitiveness in IPL?
But the problem comes is that after 2, 3, or 4 years, there will be mega auction. Like if you invest a player, I will say an example. Kolkata Knight Riders had invested this Shubman Gill for 3 years, but
Yeah,
due to this retention policy, they couldn't retain him, and he went away to another franchisee. So
yeah,
these 3 years, Kolkata Knight Riders has looked after him during his struggle times or during his injury times. Another example is Nagarkoti as well. So Kolkata is not going to get his benefit. Like he will be getting into that prime stage, like Shubman Gill may be entering 23, 24, 25, etc. So they might not get back Shubman Gill in the auction, or right now Shubman Gill has moved into Gujarat Lions. So that happens in this auction, this IPL, whether there will be consistency or whether there will be a football like there won't be any auction, like there won't be any mega auction, then you can do these kind of things. But after 3 years, there is lots of revamp in each franchisee. So investing in youngster does not make any sense because every team will be looking to win that year, maybe next year. They are not looking after 3 or 4 or 5 years. If there is no mega auction, then teams can look forward to these things. But yeah, if there is mega auction after 3 years, there is no point in investing in youngster. They can invest like whether like one of the examples, as I mentioned earlier, is Shubman Gill. Right now, if Shubman Gill is going to score a 500 run season after all the experience he got from Kolkata Knight Riders, and he might score 500 runs this season, that only is going to benefit Gujarat Titans, not Kolkata Knight Riders. That is the issue the IPL has. So BCCI need to look at these aspects. Like if a team or a franchisee need to invest an youngster, then they need to move out this auction rule or retention rule, or and move something like football league, etc. Because IPL is getting bigger as well. Right now, IPL has got a 2 month window. After
yeah.
1 or 2 years, IPL will be getting a window of 2.5 months or 3 months. BCCI will be getting more power once these ODI Super League moves away, and every year there will be ICC tournaments as well. So BCCI will be getting some more 1 or 2 weeks as well. So that is when BCCI need to correct lots of things in future.
Right.
Yep. We'll take a question now. Do you think RR will perform good this season? Because they always sign good players and end up having a bad season. Is that the question? So, Jones, would you like to answer that?
And I'll also add another question to it, Jones, because we also had another person asking us, RLS sent 5 openers and how are they going to fit it in? Because we also heard that owner Jake come out and say that Devdutt particular batted 3. How surprised are you that someone of Devdutt's quality who has done so well in opening the batting, and he's done, his strength always is maneuvering the ball and taking the ball over the top and power plays and that. So how is it going to affect his overall game, and is it going to make him a diverse cricketer, or else is it going to hamper him? So I'll just put that across with the RR's question.
First, coming to RR squad, I think they have an issue in death bowling, even though they have got Trent Bolt. But if you remember last 2 seasons, Trent Bolt was pairing with Bumrah, so that is different ball game. Right now, he will be the leader of Rajasthan bowling unit, so there will be extra pressure for Trent Bolt. And Bolt is not great T20 death bowler as well. He is a very good new ball bowler. He can bowl very good in middle overs as well, but he does not have that great numbers in at death overs. And there is Prasidh Krishna as well. Even though he has done well in the recent ODI series against West Indies, but if you look at his IPL performance, it is not that great. He was benched by Kolkata Knight Riders for poor performance, etc. So there is a bigger issue for Rajasthan Royals in the death overs. Last 4 overs, I think they can go for plenty, especially matches will be happening Monday as well. So the team need to trust Prasidh and Bolt, and these guys can go for plenty. One of the main very good aspects they've done is that spin duo. Like before a few years, they didn't had a great spin depth. Even though they had Markande or Gobal or some others as well, it has been they were not getting wickets. But right now they have invested on UC Chahal and Ashwin. I think that is one of the best spin combos ever in IPL history. So they have done few very good signings, and they have an issue with the lower order. After Shimron Atmar and number 5, number 6 and number 7 is really tough. Right now, if you look at the team structure, Riyan Parag will be batting at number 6, and maybe Nathan Gautanlyle or someone like Jimmy Neesham will be batting at number 7. That does not have that great depth. If you compare with Mumbai Indians has Tim David, Kiran Pollard, then maybe Daniel Sams or Fabian Ali will be batting at the lower order. So if you compare with Mumbai Indians or any other franchisee, Rajasthan had that issue with 6 and 7. So these are the main aspects they need to cover up, the lower order batting and death bowling. And coming to the other Padikkal, it was really surprised that Rajasthan went for Padikkal. I was not expecting Padikkal to be in Rajasthan Royals. I was expecting either for Sunrisers or this RCB again, but it was a really surprise that Rajasthan went for him and they told him batting at number three. I don't. And we need to wait and watch how that goes on because if you look at his numbers after power play, it's not that great. So he has issues with the strike rate, with boundary hitting in that phase. So that has been a big problem for him. But we need to wait and watch. And opening with Jaiswal and Padikkal, that is two inexperienced guys. So it will be really tough do that as well against these quality guys like Karpis or Abada, Loki Ferguson, Mark Wood. There are every team has that raw pace. Every team has. So
Hmm.
opening with Padikkal and Jaiswal will be really tough for them as well. So they
Yeah.
need that experience of Butler or Sanju, etc. So, but their mid order is very good. Like Shimron Hetmaya, Sanju Samson at 4 and 5 means that is one of the deadly combos in IPL as well. But the
Hmm.
issue will be how Padikkal going to perform at number three. Lower order batting and death bowling will be the major issues for Rajasthan Royals to cover up this season.
Right. One of the questions we're getting is about RCB, right? And the major talking point about RCB is why did they let Yuzvendra Chahal go and why did they go all out on Hasaranga? See, the only point what I could bring up is maybe because Hasaranga offers a lot more with the bat. And now looking at the overall squad balance across the world, right? The best T20 squads battle 9 or 10. And when you have Chahal, Hazelwood, and also Siraj, your batting is confined to number 9. And whereby we only have probably 8 batsmen, 8 players who can actually hold the bat, and from there on your tail starts. The only possible reason what I could find is Hasranga is a really good bowler. He's got a really good strike rate if you look at his last 1 year, and also coming to the fact about his batting addition as well. He could bat anywhere from number 5 to number 8, right? So the only possible reason I could bring up. But Jones, tell me about RCB squad and how did you make of their purchases in the IPL auction? Because there were some interesting buys. For example, throwing 10 crores for Harshal Patel was something which I found interesting because is he worth 10 crores is another question because he had one really good season. Now come to Hasranga as well. 10 crore, is that a bit too much, or would you wanted have asked him to set a cap around 8 or 9? From there, they could have probably said saying, okay, if we'll go till 9 for Hasranga, from there on we'll look for another spinner, probably operate in the Indian bowling lineup and would have gone for another all rounder.
These things happen in auction dynamics. Like some UC Chahal went for just 6 crores, Deepak Chahar went for 14 crores. These things happen in this auction. It depends on when these players come in. And if you look at the bowling unit, they have done a great job. Their fast bowling is very good. Like Jose Hazelwood and Siraj will be bowling with the new ball. Death overs will be between Siraj and Harshal Patel. In middle overs, it will be Hasaranga, then Shahbaz Ahmed or Glenn Maxwell, etc. There are variety. There are lots of skills as well. But the issue mainly comes is that number three and number six. Not number three and number five. That is the issue RCB need to cover up. They have got Mahipal Lomara from Rajasthan and Anju Rawat from Delhi. So how they are going to perform? Like they are not international stars. Even though Mahipal Lomara played a very good knock, but he has issues against pace. And Anju Rawat need to improve a lot, but he is one of the rising talents from Delhi. He's a very good wicket keeper. He's a gun fielder, etc. He can improve, but from the first season, how he is going to perform, that is one thing we need to wait and watch. Apart from that, I believe they have got a very good squad. Dinesh Karthik will be batting at number six. If he can use on a better note, like if you look at in the KKR days, he had a very good 2018 when he batted after the 15th over. But after that, sometimes RCB KKR used to send him the 10th over, 9th over, etc. That is where Dinesh Karthik got struggled. Especially he had issues against the spin, etc. But he's a very good player of fast bowling. If you look at his numbers against Bumrah or any great fast bowler in the IPL, he has got very good numbers. Mainly because he improved his base hitting once he went with Abhishek Nair coaching skills, etc. a few years ago. That has helped him a lot. So the issue will be number 3 and number 5, and how RCB going to play the spin bowling. Like
Hmm.
Faf is a great player of fast bowling, but the issue is Faf against spin. If you look at the CSK days, Ruturaj used to cover up that stage. Ruturaj will
Yeah,
be attacking the spinners, and Faf will be going after the fast bowling. But right
yeah,
now, Virat Kohli used to have that struggle against spin, and Faf has the issue against struggle against spin as well. So how
yeah.
RCB going to break that up, like whether they'll be putting Anju Rawat as an opener, then invest Faf at number 3 or something like that. They need to work out that, but still, the issue will be how they are going to face that spinners.
I'll add something to
Apart
that.
from
How do you see Suraj Prabhudesai coming in at number 3 or number 5? Because I've seen him in domestic cricket. He's a very good player of spin. He can actually take down the spinners. Why don't RCB consider him? Because if you look at Anuj Rawat, he strikes at 120 in domestic cricket, and I've followed him as well in IPL cricket. He got 2 chances. He got out for not both the times. So why don't you try someone like Suraj Prabhudesai who can also offer with the ball? So once you Suraj Prabhudesai in the squad, you're probably stepping into the field with 32 overs as a bank.
Uh, the another issue is that they don't have a left-hander. Like Faf is there, Virat is there, Maxwell is there, Hasaranga is there, Dinesh Karthik is there. Already 5 right-handers in top 7. If you are going to invest on Prabhudesai, then there is 6 right-handers and there will be 1 left-hander. That means opposition can play 2 spinners. Most of the teams has 2 spinners or maybe a part-time spin, etc. That will put you another pressure. And the issue is that Virat does not play spin that well these days. Faf has the issue against spin. Dinesh Karthik has the problem against spin as well. So it will be how Maxwell going to perform. Whether we can trust Maxwell for 14 games, even though he had a great 2021, but he has been inconsistent in IPL. So how that is going to span, we need to wait and watch. And they have got Shafin Rutherford. He's an exciting talent from West Indies. So Maxwell might not be available for the first 2 or 3 games. So they can try out Shafin Rutherford as well. He can bat anywhere in top 7, top 1 to 7 as well. He has done for many teams in PSL or CPL, etc. Even when he played for the GL T20 Canada League, then for West Indies, etc. So he has done that. So whether he'll be coming anywhere during that middle phase, we need to wait and watch. So the issue will be who are the left-handers. Once everyone is fit and available, already there are 5 left-handers in right-handers in top 7. So they need to invest some left-handers, which is really important in these days in T20 format. You need to have that mixer of left-handers, right-handers, leg spinner, off spinner, left arm spin or left arm spin, then a new ball attack, death bowling, etc. You need everything to come together to win a championship. So
Yeah.
how they are going to do that, that will be the important aspect for us.
One more question is: do you really see Virat coming back as an RCB captain? That's something everybody's talking about. There are a few rumors about it as well. Or do you see Faf du Plessis leading RCB because he's a very good captain as well, a proven captain?
I have a different choice. I would be going with Dinesh Karthik. I don't see Faf as the captain. Yeah, even if they're looking as captain, that will be Glenn Maxwell because he has been part of the system for last 1 year. He performed really well. He got that trust, especially he was retained by RCB. So they have got that trust on Maxwell. If they are not looking for Maxwell, especially he won't be available for the first few matches, then I would be going with Dinesh Karthik because he is their number 1 wicket keeper. So he'll be playing all the 14 games. And
Yeah,
he's an Indian as well. So if Faf is not having first 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 games, the pressure will be really putting high on Faf to perform because if he's the captain as well. So he needs to perform how then it will be affecting his game as well. So whether RCB will be taking that gamble, we need to wait and watch. But if you ask me, that one will be first choice will be Dinesh Karthik, and second choice will be depending on the availability. Like if
yeah.
Maxwell is available for the all the 14 games, then they can make Maxwell as the captain. But ideally, I would be going with Dinesh Karthik.
How about Harshal Patel? He has done well for Haryana, and he's part of the system as well. Could be a left field choice, but could probably work out as well.
Yes, he's an interesting choice. He's one someone similar to Hardik Pandya as well. Like on, if you read the articles or interviews of Hardik Pandya or Harshad Patel, there is some connection or some interesting choices how they watch cricket or how they play cricket, etc. There is something different in these two guys. So they have got very good skill set as well. Harshad Patel, even I was thinking Harshad Patel is just a slow ball merchant, etc. When I first saw him, but the way he has improved his game, the way he is putting his brain as well, uh, that has been phenomenal. But still, I don't think franchises will be going because it all depends on this business work,
Yeah,
these brand value. There are lots
yeah,
of aspects as well now. So I
absolutely.
don't think RCB will be trusting that way to make
Yeah,
Harshad Patel. It will be a massive call as well. If Harshad Patel will be the captain, then that will be one of the big changes in IPL history as well.
yeah,
Making someone like that kind of a player a captain, then that might be a trend center for the future. Maybe after 5-10 years, when you look back, that will be one of the trend setters in IPL history as well.
yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Very
And
good.
what do you think about the CSK squad that they've actually took from the auction? And what do you think about the addition of Shivam Dubey into the squad? Is it like, is he going to be a sure starter, going into the playing 11 directly, or do they see him as a long-term investment? Playing him later on in the few years, next 2 years, maybe they got time.
I don't know whether it will be a future investment, but one of the skill set Shivan Dubey has his game against spin. If you look at CSK's batting, they have been flexible every time. They might send Ambati Rayudu at number four, Ambati Rayudu number five, number six. Jadeja may be coming at number five. So it's really tough to tell where Shivan Dubey going to bat, but his skill set, one of the main aspects which attracted Dhoni as well. If you remember, the last season, Shivan Dubey scored around 60 plus against CSK in one of the matches when they were chasing around 200 something, 200 or 180, and he scored 60 from 30 or 25 balls. And he was smashing every spinners, including Jadeja, Moin Ali, everyone. That might have attracted Dhoni, what Shivan Dubey can do. But I don't know whether he'll be a future investment. But certainly, he'll be starting the playing eleven, or else I don't think he would be getting more money. And he can be like, even though they paid a lot for Gautam as well last year, but it was mainly due to the auction dynamics all. But if you look at even though apart from that Deepak Chahar call, CSK went with that certain strategy. Some players they know where to stop, when to stop,
Yeah,
etc. So that is where if you look at every player they went for, like maybe some player will be some for some player they'll be stopping at 3 crores, some player will be stopping at 5 crores, some player will be stopping at 7 crores, etc. So there is certain strategy for each player, how much they deserve or how much they need to pay, etc. So I certainly believe Shivan Dubey will be starting in the 11.
how much would you rate CSK score out of 10? Interesting.
CSK, I would. It's really tough to tell. Even I last time I didn't expect CSK to win the IPL as well. Even though they invested Moeen Ali, etc., but still they were going to play in Wangade with this bowling unit. I thought they'd be going to struggle out, but they won the IPL title, etc. So it's really tough to predict how CSK is going to perform. But if you look at the overall score, I would be going with 7 or 7.5 out of 10.
How about RCB squad rating?
RCB, as I said, there is inexperience at number three, number five, etc. But the bowling is very, very good. Siraj, then Jose Selwood, Harshad Patel, Hasaranga, these are bang 16 overs as well. Then there is Shahbaz Ahmed, who has done so well. Then there is Glenn Maxwell, who can give 1 or 2 overs in the power play or in the middle overs, etc. So, due to the bowling unit, they can defend any total as well. And the way Jose Isabut has been performing for Australia or Big Bash whenever he played, or CSK as well, he was one of the underrated performers as well. So maybe 8.3 something.
Yeah. Let's talk about another squad, another squad which actually kind of made me feel like they're so imbalanced as Gujarat Titans, right? Don't you think? I know Abhinav Manohar is definitely a great batsman in domestic cricket. He had a really good side, Mustaq Ali Trophy. I know you have followed it very closely as well, Jones. Don't tell me about the Gujarat Titans squad because they have very interesting player choices in certain spots. But if you look at the overall 11 put out, you will find some major holes, right? Because if you look at number 3, number 4, number 5, they might have to play with Vijay Shankar, Abhinav Manohar, and they probably have a major hole in number 5. Is it going to be David Miller or Matthew Wade as well? Because they don't have a wicket keeping choice. If you have a wicket keeping choice, they definitely have to play Matthew Wade, or else they'll have to go to Ridhiman Saha, who can probably only fit into top 3. What do you make of that squad?
I was expecting Gujarat to do a lot more better, especially the way the retention went. Like they retained, they drafted Rashid Khan, they drafted Hardik Pandya, then Shubman Gill. So I was expecting them to make a very good core, but it was really disappointing or a pretty ordinary or average auction. If you look at the squad as well, even though they have Jason Roy to start, but if you look at the middle order, it will be consisting of this Bhimanyu Manohar from Karnataka, then Vijay Shankar, then Matthew Wade at number 6 or number 7, etc. So that does not give that flexibility, even though Bhimanyu Manohar is really good. He has done so well, but coming into a middle order, he needs to have that space. They need to, even Vijay Shankar hasn't done that well in IPL. So we need to wait and watch. Even though Vijay Shankar has been batted more often in number 3, he has performed as number 3 in TNPL in for Chennai, etc. But still, if you look at the middle order, Matthew Wade, even though he hit 3 sixes against Shaheen Shafridi in the semi-final at number 6 or number 7, but the runs mainly come at the top of the level. He used to struggle at number 6, number 7,
Yeah.
almost in the 90% of games for Australia as well. So that middle order does not give that stability or that hope to do or to win the IPL title. One of the main aspects is that they have a very good bowling unit. Like they have got Rashid Khan is there, then Shami is there, Loki Ferguson is there, not Markwood is there, not Loki, Markwood is there. So they have got that bowling unit, but still it will be really tough. The way they performed in the draft, it was extraordinary. I would say going to the auction, they were in the top 3 sides. Mumbai, Delhi, and this Gujarat Lions was the top 3 teams who did so well in retention draft. But compared to what they did in the auction, it was really disappointing from them.
Right.
Yep. So actually, Jones, let's move on to the next team. That's Lucknow Super Giants. Actually, I think they did really well. So according to you, how well did they do? They made a really good retention picks. Not retention picks. Actually, the picks before the auction, they had really good picks. And how did their auction do? Actually, how did their auction go? They made good picks. And how well do you think the squad balances? The squad balance looks really good from the outside right now.
They went with that policy of buying too much all rounders. I never expected them to get Jason Holder once they had Marcus Stoinis, but they have invested on Kurnal Pandya, Deepak Huda, Jason Holder, then this Marcus Stoinis. So they have got 4 all rounders with spin and medium pace as well. So the only issue I had with the squad is that I still believe they have one batter short. I don't think a guy like Jason Holder, who can come at number 5 or number 6 in IPL team. He is even though he is very good, but still he can float around. But he should be put in the order at number 7 or number 8. That is the best spot for Jason Holder. He can bat at number 4. I'm not saying he does not have the game, etc. But he can float around as a batsman. But if you look at the batting order, they need to fix up Jason Holder at number 5 or number 6. So I think they are one batter short. If you look at the team, but the way they performed in the draft, they picked an inexperienced Indian rookie. He can be a very good future, and they went with that Marcus Stoinis, even though he had a great season or campaign with Delhi Capitals, but still he's not that kind of a Andhra Russell player or other T20 great all-rounders or Shane Watson, etc. He has got limitations as a player. So Gujarat Lions did so well compared to Lucknow in draft, but in the auction, I would say Lucknow has overcome most of the areas, and they did so well more than Gujarat Lions did in the auction. So
Right.
Lucknow franchise will be one of the teams to look out as well. And they have got Markwood. I got that mistake. Loki is going to Gujarat, and
Yeah.
Mark is playing for Lucknow. and they have got pretty good bowling as well. They have invested on Markwood availability might be an issue, but still they have got a very good backup with Chamira. Chamira has been doing so well for Sri Lanka whenever he got opportunity, especially with the new ball skills. So they have got that good backup as well. So I believe they did very good job in the auction compared to what they did in the draft section. They should have invested someone like Besto or Rabada, etc., in the draft section. That would have made them more stronger compared to other teams as well. But I don't know what happened. Maybe their attraction towards all rounders might be the reason. And if you look at the squad as well, they have got lots of all rounders. Maybe that might be the strategy or game plan moving into the IPL as well.
I
Even
think
they
KL
got
Rahul has a very tough task, especially leading a team like this because all the eyes will be on him. He's an Indian vice captain now in multiple formats. So I'm sure that the pressure is also going to be on him. Before we end the show, let's cover a couple more teams. Let's get into the team which everybody wants to talk about is KKR because they went all out for Shreyas Iyer. Spending 12.25 crores is no joke because he's a marquee player as well. So I want to know from Jones as to what did you make of their auction strategy? Because on day one, they were a little depleted because they had major holes to cover. But on day two, towards the final end of the acceleration session, they almost bought a lot of players, especially when it comes to overseas picks and also when it comes to Indian picks. They got someone like Umesh Yadav, they got Ajinkya Rahane on base price, who I feel is a complete steal. And also now looking at Alex Sales, who has done considerably well in Asian conditions, BPL, or if you look at PSL, he's been doing very good. So what did you make of KKR's picks in the auction?
I was really disappointed the way KKR went with the auction strategy. They had issues with the lower order. Like I don't see Pat Cummins at number 7 in a T20 format. He can bat. He has played some very good knocks etc. against CSK World, but still I don't back him at number 7. So they made that mistake again. They have been playing Pat at number 7 in last few seasons. Then if you look at this year, they need to play that as well. And one of the issues is that if they are going to play Sam Billings as the wicketkeeper, then they need to put Rahane and Venkatesh Iyer as an opener. Then number 3 will be this Nitish Rana or Iyer, and number 4 will be Nitish Rana or Iyer, depending on who gets out as an opener. So that top order does not have that explosiveness like someone like Jason Roy or Moin Ali or this maybe Virat against Pace or other. If you look at any other team, that every team has that explosiveness in the top 4. So if Venkatesh Iyer is getting out early, they might struggle to do that, and they'll be playing in Eden Gardens in the next season. Maybe if IPL returns to all home season, Eden Gardens, we all know how very good ground is for batters. It is almost 220 or 200 wicket. So how these guys going to perform there? So it will be really tough for this Kolkata Knight Riders, and they didn't revamp as a side as well. Almost the core they got like Shivam Mavi or Pat Cummins at number 7, then Nitish Rana. Then only change might be the swapping of Shubman Gill and Shreyas Iyer. Apart from that, they have almost similar squad. And if you they downgraded like they had Rahul Tripathi as an opener. Right now they need to open with Rahane as well. Even though Rahane has performed as an opener, but it was really 5 or 7 or 8 years back. Recently, Rahane has been struggling as well. So how Rahane going to perform? And if they need to play Alex Sales, then they can't play Sam Billings, and they need to invest on Sheldon Jackson at number 4 or number 5. So that will be another issue as well. How he is going to adapt to this IPL pressure, etc. Even though he has done so well in the Saeed Mushtaq Ali, etc. But IPL is a different beast. Coming at number 5 might not be easy for him as well. So there are lots of issues KKR need to overcome. They should have done better, but I don't know what happened this year as well.
Yep, let's move on to Delhi Capitals actually. What do you think about their picks in the auction? And they got the bowlers that they have, not as experienced as what they had in the past, but they do have what do you say, a full set of bowlers actually, more bowlers rather than any other team actually. And they got Mitchell Marsh for 6.5 crores, which I feel is a huge steal for them. And what do you think about their picks in the auction?
I think in the batting, it is one of the best batting unit as well in this IPL edition. Warner, Prithvi Shaw, Then Safras or Mitchell Marsh at number three. Number four will be Rishabh. Number five will be Safras or Mitchell Marsh. Then number six, Roman Powell. Number seven will be Akshar Patel. Number eight will be Thakur. Their batting and depth is really good, but the issue will be how their bowling going to perform. Like last year, they had Rabada, Nokia, Avesh Khan, etc. But this year, they lack experience or they lack that quality who can bowl along with this Nokia. They had Chetan Sakriya or Mustafizur or Nagakoti or Khalil, etc. But they don't have. If you look at the bowling unit of 2021 and 2022, I believe it is a bit downgrade as a bowling core. So that will be the pressure how they are going to handle. But their batting is one of the best in the IPL. I don't see any team has that flexibility in the batting compared to Delhi in this season. So batting is one to watch out, but their issue will be bowling.
Tell me about this, Jones, because you spoke about their batting, but when you look at some holes in their batting, for example, if you look at Mitchell Marsh, he's had all the success batting in number three for Australia, and that's something which he has been doing very well in Asian conditions. For example, in the Bangladesh series, the T20 World Cup, he's so used to batting at number three. So now you have Rishabh Pant batting at number four. So number five, number six becomes a huge hole for them, right? Last time around, they had a Hetmeyer, then a Marcus Stoinis, and that core Indian batting was an Indian core. They had a Prithvi Shaw and Shikhar Dhawan to open. Now you have an overseas player to open and a Mitchell Marsh at number three. So it makes Indian batting to carry on to finish, right? So doesn't that make their batting also slightly weaker than last year?
They have got a depth compared to last season. If you look at last year, Ashwin etc. was batting at number eight, but this year Thakur will be batting at number eight, and they have Robman Powell at number six. If they are going to play three overseas in the top six, Robman Powell might come at number six, and recently he has been doing so well as a batsman. Recently, he scored that 100 against England. He has improved his version as a batter. So they have got that batting. The issue will be bowling, and they have. If you look at even Rishabh Pant can come at number five, and they can
Yeah,
invest Safnas at number four. So they have
yeah.
got lots of choices, and as I said earlier, the batting is flexible. They can move around in the from three to seven or three to eight. The issue will be bowling, like they don't have that experience, and the spinners as well. Last time they got Amit Mishra or this Ravichandran Ashwin, etc. But this time they does not have that experience or that form, etc. in the spin bowling department as well. So it is going to be really tough how they are going to manage. And if Nokia 14 games, it's going to be really tough for him as well. Recently, he hasn't played any match. He might get injured, etc. So that is another issue they need to deal up. But the bowling is a big downgrade compared to last year.
Absolutely, Jones. Thank you, you're on mute.
What role do you see for Connor Bharat this year in DC? Do you see him playing as a number three or number four?
It will be interesting to see whether they'll be playing Bharat or Safras. That will be one spot vacant, and these two guys will be fighting for that spot. The way they have price tag, like Bharat, I think went for huge money, around two, three, or four something. Then Safras was a steal, I think 20 lakh something they got. So we need to wait and watch whether KS Bharat will be backup wicketkeeper for this Rishabh Pant, or they're going to start with KS Bharat. So it's really tough to tell, but the battle will be between KS Bharat and Safras.
Absolutely. Jones, before we end the live, I know it's a time constraint, even you have to go, even I have another live to join. So, Jones, one word on Sunrisers Hyderabad, and what do you make of their squad before we end the live?
Sunrisers, I think they bite lots of fast bowlers. I don't know how they are going to play everyone like
But don't you
Karthik.
think it's a good thing, especially having an Indian fast bowling core? It's so much different from any other team, so they can invest totally on a foreign top order, or foreign top seven.
Yes, but the issue is that I still think their batters are really short. They can if you look at the batting unit which was told by Muralidharan as well, like Abhishek Sharma will be opening with Kane Williamson, number three will be
Yeah,
Makram, number four Rahul Tripathi, number five will be Nicholas Puran, etc. But still, Nicholas Puran should be batting at number four, I believe, because he is better against spin. Makram will be better against pace as well. That is one change they need to look up. But their first 11 looks really good. The issue will be their second or their bench strength. They have got bench strength in fast bowling. Like Karthik Tyagi is there, Umran Malik is there, Natarajan is there, and then Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, etc. are there. But the issue is that once any batter gets injured, or whether the batter has a poor form, etc., how they are going to replace. So I still think they should have brought in a few batters from Team India who could have handled that situation way better. But first 11, I still think it is way better compared to few franchises. They have done a few very good jobs as well. They have brought in very good players, but I would have liked to see Rahul Tripathi opening as well, along with anyone. Then Puran at number 4, Makram at number 5. Then surrounding Kane Williamson, they can play. Then they have got depth as well. Abdul Samad is there, Romario Shepherd is there, Washington Sundar is there. So they have
Yeah.
got depth. They should be some of the batters will be having a poor form. How they are going to handle that situation? That will be one of the interesting thing to watch out.
Absolutely. So, firstly, Jones, huge thank you for joining us. It's always great to interact with you, and it's not. It's I think it's our third time interacting. So, I hope you'll join us for more of these shows, and we'll catch you up very soon. I hope the viewers also were able to ask a lot of interesting questions, and you were also able to answer it in such a prudent way. So, great to have you on the show, Jones, and we'll catch you up very soon before the IPL and also after the series against West Indies. Thank you, Jones.
Thanks a lot.